Hey, it is me, MVT Sky, and this is Tarot and Coffee Time, and this is the 14th episode. So the reason why you are all seeing the numbers, on the board today is because I'm not right now doing the daily reads, so I just did a little combination. So right now we have the energy for today in the sun. We have the energy for tomorrow in the moon. Then we have Jupiter. We have some Saturn here, and then we have some Mercury. So we're just going to see what the discussion is. Now, when you're talking about the sun, you talk about the house of Leo. You talk about creativity, family, romance, children, happiness, bliss, control, new opportunities, facing fears, taking a risk, that kind of thing. But let's see how it lines up with the planetary cards and what else it wants to talk about. All right? So let's see. So we have this moon energy, that's a discussion. So now we have the sun and the moon here. These are the night and the dark, all right? One is, it comes with bliss, happiness, and clarity, right? But it also can be very blinding. Things are not always very clear. When you're dealing with the moon, it's a discussion of choice, but it's also talking about the house of Cancer. When you talk about family, home environment, things of that nature, things that may not be clear when you have to make a choice, but we're going to get this blend to come down together because this moon is confirming Tuesday anyway. So let's see. What are we working on in the sun energy that, may affect Tuesday's moon energy here? And I know this is a weird way to look at it, but being that I'm not doing a daily readings at this particular moment, we're going to get to the bottom of that. So let's see. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Queen of Swords. There goes air energy, that air, water energy generally. This is Libra energy, okay? Let's see what else comes up. You have this Five of Cups that comes down. And you also have the Chariot that comes down. Now, when you're dealing with the Chariot is a major arcana. It rules the moon. It's a discussion when you're dealing with this feminine principle, this feminine energy. Okay, there's some things that the Queen of Swords may not be paying attention to, or some people moving in this Queen of Swords energy. Some people that may be dominant in a fire energy and have some water and air energy. Remember, the underlying energy is a water energy. Again, when you deal with the Queen of Swords, it's somebody that's very intellectual, very strong-minded. Okay, Monday is the day to not use the sword to cause pain and hurt or imbalance. Stay in balance when it comes to this Chariot situation. The Chariot is about the discussion of keeping balance between the light and the dark energies also, right? But it also discusses motion and movement. So today is the day to kind of tap into intuition, try to be clear, try to stay in a happy, blissful state, but stay clear, right? And that's not focused on the Five of Cups, the loss, the despair, the emotional losses and things of that nature, because this tends to throw the energy off a little bit, and it may cause a stop in motion and movement. So now let's see what's going on with this moon energy on Tuesday, being that Monday is talking about this moon energy, and it also could just be it could also be talking about the signs of Cancers, right? So let's see what else comes up. People, do not turn your back on your own intuition either. Okay. Alright, so we have this fire energy, which is confirming what's going on Monday. Okay, so you're talking about Sagittarius, Leo, Aries energy under this moon energy. There's some things that's not very clear or not coming through very clear when it comes to dealing with this fire and water kind of energy. And again, when you're dealing with fire and water, it has to be, when it's in a balance, there's a mist. Overage of fire will evaporate water, right? Certain points it will boil water, and then water does have the power to put fire out. Okay, but even with putting fire out, there comes smoke, and with smoke there's confusion and things that's not clear. So there may be people that's dealing with situations that's not clear between Monday and Tuesday, right? Now pay attention, because Tuesday is the last day of Taurus, right? And then you move into this Gemini energy. So let's see what else is going on here. Let me see Let me look at the wheel because I do find this to be a little bit interesting. Hold on. Let's look at the wheel real quick. Where did I put it? Alright, so, alright, you're dealing with your faith and your religions when you're dealing with the Sagittarius. You're dealing with the family, the creativity, the romance, the risk, and the hobbies when you're dealing with the Leo, right? And then you have this Aries where you're dealing with the first house, personality, appearance, temperament, those type of things, okay? Pay attention. There's some things that may not be very clear in these houses right now, okay? So pay attention to how you're communicating on Monday, how you processing information and thinking. Make sure your air energy is in balance with your water energies, okay? So let's see what else is going on. And if you also pay attention with this particular deck, when you're dealing with the Queen of Swords, she sits in a royal, okay? She sits in her royal colors, all right? And there's a lot of concrete around her because it's a stern energy, okay? Not that there's no emotions and no love, but it's a very stern and blunt energy, okay? So let's see what else is going on here. You have this Six of Swords here. There's some things that may have to be let go, okay? And then you have this Emperor. The discussion of the Aries energy, this fire card comes down. Pay attention to Aries, the personality, the appearance thing. There may be some things that have to be released that, you know, there's emotional attachments to that people may be dealing with in the background, okay? These things is, you're letting them go so that you can move forward into this 10 of coins position, so that you can move into this Emperor position, whether you're a female or you a male. These are things that you have to find balance in. And it's requiring some blind choices and the need to follow one's intuition and pay attention to, you know, their faiths, their beliefs, their you know, how they appear in their personality, and also, you know, pleasure and how you deal with family and romance and hobbies and risk. What risk are you? And this was a discussion because even in the Six of Swords, there's a risk. Okay, this person is being guided and assisted in the Six of Swords in the general deck across the waters, which is very emotional. Okay, with a young individual to another land, to another place. Okay, and that comes with unknowns. This is the 10 of coins. Have faith that when you have this opportunity, whatever it is you're moving away from and letting go of, or needing to address on Tuesday, for some people this may be an Aries, that you understand that it's providing you with fresh opportunity to build this 10 of coins and have more power and more stability in your position, because the Emperor is still very powerful and still very aggressive and still very possessive. It doesn't always do good in the water energy, so try to find balance in there. So now we have Wednesday, that's a discussion of Jupiter, right? And when we're talking about Jupiter, this is confirming this little Sagittarius energy that comes up in the fires, right? And this talks about philosophy, the abstract mind. This talks about religion and faith. It also discusses long journeys and things like that. There may be some people that's considering that or planning that because, you know, it's about to get nice outside. So, you know, let's see. Some may be planning a spiritual journey. But let's see what else comes down. And it's an interesting week because we have Thursday that comes down for the day 22 and 4, and then the high comes down. The high vibration comes down under Mercury in 11 and 2. So Thursday is pretty much even out. Okay, so let's see what's going on in this Jupiter situation here. And this is the entering of Gemini, right? And we talk about the energy of Gemini's mentality, expression, and communication. This is probably why communication on Monday is important. Okay. So anyway, look at that. There goes Mercury. And Mercury rules in Gemini, and this is the first day. Okay, so there goes Mercury having a discussion. So Thursday, your faith, your philosophy, your beliefs, your mentality, your expression, and the way you communicate. But this is also a discussion of whether one is going to take a long trip, a short trip. Okay, this also discusses neighbors and siblings and stuff. But we're going to see what it's really talking about right now with this Jupiter energy. And this is fire and air energy. So understand that, you know, air can put out fire, but air can also spread fire. Okay? So let's get that clear. It has to be a balance. So let's see what else goes on here. And so you have the good old page of coins that come up. And so we got a little people's card here. And when you're dealing with the page, you're dealing with double earth energy, okay? So here you're dealing with fire, air, and this double earth kind of energy. When you're dealing with the pages, this is a young energy. So, outside of thought and communication and dualities, it's important to pay attention to how you deal with your finances today, how you spending your money, how you interacting physically, how you interact with your body. Are you being reckless with your money, your finances, your possessions, these things when you're dealing with those things? Now, these are not usually associated to a particular sign. So young, okay, healthy, happy, good energies, okay, and this page energy, okay, that, come in or have access. Be mindful of how you deal with your physical reality, okay? Don't exclude intuition. Don't exclude spirituality. Don't exclude foundational principles, period. All right, so let's see what else comes up. Yep, right. So listen, in that there may be some new opportunities, also very young opportunities that are being discussed, okay, where there can be some real thought that needs to come through, some agreements, some discussions, some communications. When you're dealing with the Ace of Swords, you're still dealing with that Gemini, Libra, Aquarius energy, right? So you're talking about dualities, you're talking about partnerships, you're talking about look, I'm tongue-tied. You're talking about mentality, expression, and then you're talking about friends and social groups and hopes, wishes, and desires and long-term goals. Okay, so when Wednesday comes about, outside of your faith, outside of your beliefs, okay, pay attention to your mentality and your expression, your communication, especially when it comes to dealing with the physical reality and your possessions, right? Really get to putting your thoughts into what it is that you want to do. Are you willing to partner with people? Do you have enemies because of new opportunities? Are there new opportunities? Are you giving to the wrong opportunities? These are things that have to be thought about. And this brings you into this for the energy with is the master builder number, okay, the 22 and the 4, and this Saturn energy. And when you're dealing with Saturn, you're dealing with this energy of Capricorn, which is also earth energy, and it talks about public reputation and honor, but it also talks about foundations and building strong foundations and planting in the foundations, right, to create later on in life. This is what some people may have to think about coming into this energy, okay? And also the pages is a discussion of children and the youth, okay? How is one discussing and communicating with the youth? Are they making them think? Is the communication clear? Is it right and exact? Is it fair? Is it right? Okay? So let's look and see what else is going on over here in Saturn. And it's good old master builder energy for the day. This is why I'm using the Masonic deck, because we got the master numbers up here. Alright, so you got this Venus energy that comes up, okay? And when you're dealing with Venus, you're dealing with the house of Taurus, you're dealing with the house of Libra, okay? Which confirms this Libra energy that comes up here. And it also confirms the earth energy that comes up here. Now, when you're dealing with Venus, again, you're dealing with your possessions, your finances, your values. You're also dealing with partnerships, marriages, open enemies, and things like that in the energy of Libras, okay? Meanwhile, remember, you're in the sign at this point of Gemini. So let's see what else is going on here. And this is in Saturn, okay? And to be honest, let me get my little notes, because in the energy of Saturn, okay, who does good? Libra does well in the energy of Saturn, okay? So pay attention to your Libra houses. Make sure you kind of get your Taurus houses together, right? Who does? Yeah. So yeah, let's look at that. Also, Aries comes down on Tuesday, so pay attention to these houses. Woo! Everybody came out there. All right, so fine. So now we have the Knight of Coins, and we have the Five of Coins, and you have the High Priest. All right. So first off, once again, let's look at this high priest energy real quick. When you're dealing with the high priestess, the high priest. I said the high priestess. All right, so we're dealing with the high priest here. Okay, and so that's Taurus energy that still comes up, and the earth energy, okay, and this Venus. Now dealing with this Knight of Coins energy down here. When you're dealing with the Knight of Coins, you're dealing with 20 degrees of Aries and 20 degrees of Taurus. All right. Now, when you're dealing with this Five of Pentacles, if you notice, the Knight is focusing more on this Venus energy. So therefore, this is letting you know, focus on your partnerships, your balance, and your possessions, your values. Okay. This focus, okay, with this Five of Coins behind there. Do not ignore the Five of Coins. The choices that's made under this energy of Venus while you're dealing with Gemini and you're dealing with this energy of Mercury, of that Mercury communication, because it's not only isolated to Gemini, it's also Virgo energy, which deals with your occupation and your services. What are the messages that's coming in through the houses of Venus, okay? And what was lost in the past, okay? And what was walked away from. Did one walk away from elders and in particular people with power and status that, have information and knowledge that one needs? Was there a particular manipulation by an elder that created a loss that made one have to walk off and reestablish in the areas of Venus? These are things that people have to think about when you're thinking about the actual planet. Think about the fact that the planet is ruling Gemini, and it's also ruling Libra. Think about the fact that Mercury is also ruling Venus is ruling Taurus and Libra, and Mercury is ruling Gemini and Virgo. Okay, the way these are coming down over here is letting you know that there's duality and balances that need to take place in these areas, and maturity is necessary when you're dealing with your earth processes. Now, when you're dealing with the Knights, it's also a discussion of communications and messages coming through in regards to things in reference in Venus. Pay attention to what's going on behind you, things that are lost in the physical possessions, and elders and knowledge and information. Are you forgetting that, or are you bringing that in with you so that you can create balance in this Venus house? So now we're looking at Friday, and Friday is coming down in the energy of Mercury, which is telling you to pay attention to the way you think, you communicate your plans, and how you position yourself on Wednesday. And this 11 and 2 also confirms that it's important to follow your intuition. Intuitive energy is high in Mercury. All right, so when you're communicating and how you're communicating and your mentality and your expression, okay, it should be on a higher frequency when you're coming in on Friday, because the highest frequency on Friday is 11 and 2. I'm not going through all of the frequencies because I'm not doing a daily reading. This is for the week. It's at a glance, right? So let's see. Let's see. We got to get one of these other cards down and see which other planets is a discussion. So here we got this Sagittarius energy. Communicating, tapping in your mentality and your expression when you're dealing with your faith, your religion, good fortune, the house of Jupiter, right? Traveling. What do you believe in? Okay. This Sagittarius fire energy comes up. All right. How are you dealing with that? Are you tapping into your 11 and 2? Okay. Alright, let's see what it says, what the discussion is. So here, you have this 7 of Cups here. Alright, you have this 4 of Cups here. And there's a lot of... And you have the Queen of Wands here. Alright, this is very interesting because here you're dealing with the energy of Mercury. You're dealing with the intuitive aspects, the higher frequency spiritually of Mercury. When you're dealing with the the theme of Sagittarius and it being ruled by Jupiter, which is one of the highly spiritual houses, okay, and confusion, okay. If you notice that on this, the image of the person is facing forward but got his hand on this confusion and choice, okay. So be very clear on what it is that you believe in, your faiths and your choices and decisions and your communications, because Mercury also is a discussion of duality, okay. Outside of that, it also rules the occupation, right? Illnesses, employment, and that kind of thing. There may be some confusion that may be taking place that's not being acknowledged, and this is coming from this fire energy here, which is coming down as the Queen of Wands, right? And when you're dealing with that, you're dealing with 20 degrees of Aries and 20 degrees of Pisces, okay? But this is still being ruled under this Mars energy, so pay attention to this Aries energy. There's something that's not being looked at, and I might throw another card with this Aries energy, this Aries Sagittarius energy. Now, also, communication may be a little bit off, okay, when it comes to Sagittarius's and Aries on Friday. So let me just throw down one more card to see what's going on here. And this very may well be because there's a lot of that air energy, and also fire and too much water is always a problem, okay? But there may be a feminine energy here that's not interested and has turned their back on particular situations or feels ignored. So let's see who that is and what that's about. Anywho, all right, so you have this Seven of Pentacles. All right, so she's working on something else, okay, and it is requiring patience. She's working on something else. She's focused on something else. This Sagittarius energy right now is a time to tap into how you communicate, your mentality, your expression, your beliefs, what you really stand on. Is there confusion? Is there overindulgence? Is there other choices? Is there this, feeling isolated? The Two of Cups, there's 2 cups that leans towards the Sagittarius and 2 cups that leans towards this feminine Aries principle, okay? Now, when you're dealing with the Queen of Wands can be very warm and loving and creative. The underlying energy is water. Sagittarius, are you shaking up the water principles of a fire sign right now? And if so, understand that may create imbalance and confusion, okay, which is why you may see this 7 of Cups sitting up there, and it unfolds into this 4 of Cups and her deciding to focus on something else, which is going to require a little bit of patience. This is a time for Sagittarius energies and fire energies that are dominant in these Sagittarius to really tap into their 11 and 2 and really pay attention to how they're communicating with individuals. A lot of this today for this ongoing week is a discussion of communication. It's also a discussion of development. Even for Wednesday and Thursday, there's the development process here from this page of coins into this Knight of Coins. From the initial gift, okay, because those are the babies, okay, to contemplation and really sorting out communication and thought in this Ace of Swords into this Venus energy, bringing in new messages, even though there may be some losses that may be being walked away from, and there may be some elders here that may be walked away from, and it may be due to manipulation. And let me throw another card. And I'm not saying that that's a necessarily a bad thing, because when you're in that page and night stage, you're still learning. You still haven't gotten to the Queen and the King stage, okay? But let's see what this guy over here doing here with his staff and his potions and his books, okay? The Hermit. So with this staff, this may just be simply a necessary development that needs to take place. There may be some earth signs that's not really looking at it that way. It could be some manipulation by an elder that creates a little bit of isolation, but this isolation is on the side where the wand is. So it's a discussion of this, going on the journey, the unknown, seeking higher knowledge, looking for higher information, understanding that there are certain journeys that one is going to experience and have that no one else is going to be included in, okay? And some people may come to that conclusion And this is all a part of master building in reality, that some will end up walking off to deal with these two aspects, which is their Taurus and their Libra houses. And it may also come from dealing with dramatic losses and tragic losses and connections with elders. But if you notice, they both have the pyramid over their head. These are both energies of enlightenment. Mind you, this one is seeking the enlightenment. This one has the enlightenment. So this also could be a discussion of this. One had to have this experience to get this experience. And in that came the 5 of coins, a little bit of loss that brought about new information and new experiences to bring about stabilization within the house of Libra and the house of Taurus. So this is not necessarily bad, but everybody, people don't like that sometimes, especially when you're in that Gemini energy, that twin energy that always have a connect. People don't like that sometimes, but it's a journey, okay? But outside of that, this may not be for everybody, so pay attention if you know Libra, Taurus on this day, what's coming to you that's bringing that. Pay attention, Virgos and Geminis. Pay attention, Cancers. Pay attention, Sagittarius, Leos, and Aries. And pay attention, Sagittarius is in Aries. Anyway, this is a week at a glance, and it is Tarot and Coffee, and this is the 14th episode, and I will see y'all on the next one. Smooches and deuces and be good and all that good stuff. Later.